Welcome to Painting with Papa number 6. As I promised you, today I'm going to start a painting. And I'm going to show you the steps that I go through. Before I do that though, I just thought I'd show you how I've got everything set out. You can see I've got my board that I'm going to paint on set up on my easel. I've got my brushes in the jar at the bottom. I've got my palette ready to squeeze the paint onto, and I've got my box with the paints all set out. Now it's just a case of getting on with the job in hand. Artists start their paintings in several different ways. Some like to paint the whole board first in one particular colour of their choice. They call this killing the white, because looking at a white board or canvas is not very inspiring. The other way which some artists start is to actually draw the picture out with a paintbrush and paint. As you can see, I've drawn it out with pencil, because that's the way I prefer to work. What you do though is entirely up to you. It's whatever suits you best. Okay, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is to paint the sky and the water on the canal. So I'll need to mix a pale blue for that. And here's a top tip. When you're mixing any largish quantities of paint, it's easier to do it with a palette knife than it is to do it with a brush. You can just take a little bit on your palette knife and mix it together and make up as much as you need to do the part that you're working on. Right, here we go. Let's get that sky blocked in as quickly as we can. Back again. As you can see now, I've blocked in the sky and I've also started to paint in the clouds. I've blocked in the canal and I've painted in some of the reflections of the clouds into the water. It's only rough at this stage because I might need to refine it later. I might need to change it slightly. But it doesn't matter with acrylic because we can paint on top of acrylic and it won't show through. Now I've finished the buildings on the right hand side and got them up to a stage where I'm reasonably happy. I'll just zoom in and let you see that. Right, the next stage then is to tackle the buildings on the left hand side, and there's quite a bit of grass there as well, and of course in the canal we've got the canal boats, so that's going to be a little bit longer job and a little bit more tricky. I'll be back to you when I've got a little bit further forward. I'm using what I call my painting by numbers technique. Painting by numbers, you get a board or a canvas which has been printed with a drawing, and inside each of the shapes there's a number, and that number corresponds to the number on a pot of paint. So you paint everything which is in the number 1 with the paint from the pot number 1 and number 2 and so on until you finish the picture. In my picture, what I've done, I've painted all the fronts of the buildings in the same or a similar shade of a brick colour. I'll then move on to painting the roofs, which are going to be in various shades of grey, and the grass of course, which will be green, and finally I'll move on to the boats, which are going to be the trickiest part of the picture. When I've made some progress, I'll come back to you. You hear the birds tweeting outside. It's not a bad day today. It's a little bit cloudy, but it's quite warm. I wanted to stop at this point and show you where I got up to. As you can see, I'm making some real progress. I've still got quite a bit to do. I've got the grass to do on this part of the picture, and then I've got some tidying up to do just to complete it. But what I wanted to do this morning was to show you a device which many artists, including myself, use to help them get a steady hand when they're painting detail. And this is the device. It's called a mahl stick. As you can see, it's a wooden rod, and on the end of the wooden rod is a ball, which in my case is covered with a piece of chamois leather. The idea is that you can rest this onto your painting and use it to steady your hand. So if I pick up a brush, I can show you that if I hold the stick like that, I can steady my hand better and get a better precise amount of detail into my picture. If I try to paint like this, then the chances are that I'm not going to steady my hand too well at all. So, mahl stick. Now let me just show you mine, because I've only just recently bought this one. It actually comes in 3 pieces. There we have the top piece, which is the part with the ball, and then this is the actual bottom handle of it. But I've also got a third part, which is this, which I can put between the two. If I just screw it together. And then I have a much longer mahl stick, which I can use on larger paintings. Of course, you don't have to have anything as fancy as this. All you really need is a piece of doweling, smoothed out with a piece of sandpaper, and a ball of some sort on the end, maybe a tennis ball or something like that, something which is soft, which is not going to damage your picture. The important thing, the really important thing, is not to put that end ball onto any part of the painting which is wet, because A, you'll damage the picture, and B, you'll get paint onto your mahl stick, which will mean then that when you use it in future, it'll start making marks. So there you go, a mahl stick, M-A-H-L, mahl stick. Right, I'm just about finished now. You can see that I've covered everything, and I've painted in all the detail that I want. I don't think I really want to go any further, because all that happens if you're not careful is that you just keep altering things for altering's sake, and it doesn't really improve the picture. So there you are, the Canal at Sale by Papa.